It was 2018. I don't remember the exact date, but it was about a month after the Parkland shooting. That day still feels like it happened this morning, because it was one of the realest fears I've ever felt in my life. I was in 7th grade. I had arrived early to class, our language arts room. I sat down before it got crowded. Other students started filling the room. The bell rang, and the teacher continued the lesson from where we left off. There was always this troublesome kid in the class, and he sat next to me. I was genuinely surprised that day because he wasn't bothering me at all. He was the type whose breathing could annoy you, but for some reason, he didn't say a single word that day. About half an hour later, the school intercom suddenly turned on. That first click sound still echoes in my head. Normally, we'd hear announcements or reminders. Nobody really cared. But this time, the voice was different. The principal's voice was shaking with fear. It honestly sounded like he had panicked, hit 3 buttons at once, and dialed the wrong line. Lockdown. This is not a drill. Lockdown. The moment I heard the fear in his voice, something heavy settled in my chest. Everyone in the classroom looked at each other in shock and fear. Our teacher locked the door, pulled the blinds down, and moved us all to the back corner of the classroom. Even that annoying kid next to me wasn't making jokes. Well, not completely. He kept making stupid little noises, trying to make us laugh. Nobody had any tolerance for jokes at that moment. Then, my eyes drifted toward the window near the door, and I saw them. 7 police cars rushed into the front entrance at once. Their lights were flashing. The officers got out and immediately pulled out their guns. My breath stopped. The world slowed down. The sound got muffled. It felt like I was having a nightmare and couldn't wake up. My best friend was at lunch at the time. In the cafeteria, inside my head, a voice kept screaming, "What if something happened to him?" Panic hit me so hard that I grabbed my phone and texted my family, my fingers shaking. Then, a girl in the class leaned toward my ear and whispered, "Don't worry." My mom gave me a knife to protect myself. If something happens, I can defend myself. Hearing that from a 12-year-old still creeps me out to this day. I scrolled through social media for minutes. On someone's story, I saw, "There's an armed shooter at the school." I just stared at the screen. My breathing got faster. My hands started to go numb. About an hour later, the lockdown ended. Half of our lunch break was gone. My friends and I went to the bathroom area to see what was happening. While waiting near the door, I saw something. A police officer was walking with a backpack in his hand. Next to him was a kid, not lifting his head. He didn't look happy. In fact, his face was drained of all color. After school, we learned the truth. That kid had jokingly told someone, "I have a gun in my backpack. I'll use it." His friend told the teacher that's why the lockdown happened. There was no gun in his bag. He had only wanted to scare the people around him. But the face I saw that day, walking down the hallway with the police, I still haven't forgotten it, because that was the first time I truly saw what real fear looks like. I'm Dylan. This happened exactly 14 years ago. I was 16, in my final year of high school. Most of those 4 years felt wasted. 7th through 9th grade were fine, but 10th grade was pure hell. When I was 14, I found out I had a disability. Turns out I was born with another one too. The moment we started 10th grade, everyone's attitude suddenly changed. It was like I had grown up overnight, or at least they thought I had. Unlike most kids, they had genuinely become rude. The girls, let me be honest, they were brutally merciless. As they left childhood behind, many of them seemed to lose their character entirely. Luckily, I had 2 close friends, but my class wasn't like theirs. I didn't have the same lessons as they did that day. It was ordinary, just another boring class. I was the type who preferred being alone. I sat in the back, leaning against the wall, on the long benches everyone else grouped themselves. The 7 boys I occasionally fought with in the back. 4 identical-looking girls sitting up front. Another group of 3 girls and 3 boys, and 2 foreign students speaking their own language. And me, my teacher, had been my teacher in 9th grade too. Annoying at times, but I'd gotten used to him. The second class had just started when we heard a click over the intercom. Like everyone else, I thought it was just a morning announcement and didn't pay much attention. Until I heard the words, "Code Black." Lightning flashed in my head. I jumped up and looked at the code list next to the board. Code Black equals lockdown. The teacher hurriedly locked the door, covered the windows with paper, and pulled down the blinds. From the corridor, we could hear the sounds of other classrooms locking their doors. Then, the school went completely silent. I had never experienced such silence in my life. It was so quiet that if someone in the class breathed a little too quickly, you could hear it. But the strange thing was, nobody looked scared. It was as if we were all just thinking, "What is this now?" Yet something inside me told me something was wrong. The city I was in was safe. No school had ever experienced an event like this before. All we ever did were fire drills. That was it. I was in the far corner of the classroom. I usually stayed silent because I was tired of dealing with people's attitudes. But now, I was truly alert. I peeked behind the paper on the door, pitch black. No sound from outside. No movement. No dragging. No running. No screams. Nothing. The silence made me even more uneasy. Thousands of thoughts ran through my mind instantly. Is someone inside? Is someone outside? Armed? Knife? Will they come to our classroom? I always tell myself, I don't get scared. But at that moment, the silence can truly drive you insane. As minutes passed, the tension inside me grew. I was ready. If someone came in, at least I was brave enough to respond. But the worst part was waiting. The boys in the back were whispering among themselves. Even that whisper made my skin crawl. The girls up front, always laughing, now completely silent. So silent. It was as if they were afraid even to breathe. It felt like we weren't in a classroom. We were somewhere else entirely. After a while, I thought to myself, enough. Whatever is going to happen, this waiting has to end. And finally, a deep puff of voice came through. It announced that everything was over. The locked doors could now be opened. Before the teacher even unlocked the door, everyone stood up quickly. It was as if the classroom had been brought back to life from that pitch-black silence. When lunch break started, rumors spread like wildfire. Apparently, one of the kids in our class, the troublemaker, had threatened the principal with a knife. No one was harmed. But that kid was immediately expelled. That afternoon, the whole school was talking about it. People were laughing more at how ridiculous the situation was than feeling scared. But for me, I still can't forget what I felt in that dark classroom, in that deep, suffocating silence. I remember that day like it was yesterday. Years have passed, but every night when I close my eyes, my brain still drags me back to those moments. It was an ordinary day. I was in math class. The teacher was explaining equations, and I had my head on the desk thinking, I wish I wasn't here. A few minutes later, my wish came true, but not the way I wanted. The school intercom suddenly crackled to life. The entire class jumped. Then we heard that word, lockdown. This is not a drill. The room fell silent instantly. We'd been through lockdowns before, but this time the harshness in the voice, the urgency, froze everyone's blood. The teacher locked the door, switched off the lights, and moved us to the corner farthest from the door. Minutes passed. The silence lingered. The only sound was the ticking of the clock on the wall. Eventually, the alarm was lifted. We all breathed out in relief. The teacher said, "All right, kids, go to your next classes." I headed to my history class. After a bit, I needed to go to the bathroom. I asked for permission and stepped out into the hallway. And that's when I made the worst mistake of my life. I was in the wrong place at the wrong time. There were shouts echoing from the end of the hallway. At first, I thought it was a fight. But the panic in the voices, the cries for help, something was wrong. I slowly approached the corner, and then I saw him. A tall man with messy hair, his eyes wide open and bloodshot. Dressed head to toe in black, holding a gun. He was waving it around like a toy, shouting at everyone. And then he saw me. I still don't know how my heart didn't stop at that moment. My legs turned to jelly. He turned toward me, pointing the gun straight at my chest. "Come here." His voice was so sharp, so cold, that even thinking about running wasn't possible. With my hands up and shaking, I walked toward him. He grabbed my arm and yanked me closer. The smell of sweat, metal, and that overwhelming sense of death. "Listen," he whispered in a low voice. "I'm not going to hurt you, but you're going to help me get out of here." I nodded, terrified, like I had handed over my life completely. He pushed me toward the stairs. We went down to the lowest part of the school, into an old, damp, unused basement. Inside, there were 6 or 7 others, all students, all crying. "Sit down! Don't move!" he shouted. We were trapped, words stuck in our throats. No one said anything. We just listened to the sound of him pacing back and forth. Minutes, maybe hours, refused to pass. Then, footsteps upstairs. Fast, heavy, armed. The man cursed and raised his gun. "Stay back!" But it was already too late. The police broke the door open all at once. Lights burst through the darkness. A gunshot. The clink of metal hitting the ground. And the man collapsed. Everything ended in seconds. But the fear inside me didn't end. I can barely remember being taken to the ambulances, the cameras, the sirens. They kept telling me, "You're so lucky." But I didn't feel that way inside, because some nights, I still wake up asking myself, if I had left class 5 minutes sooner, or stayed in the classroom, would I still be here today?